Hi guys, can you believe we're on the last day of our missions adventure together? We've traveled the world together and I've loved having you with me. Let's recap where we've been so far. In North Africa, we learned to love others even when it's hard. In Germany, we saw how kindness can open doors. In Belize, we saw girls learning how to forgive with Jesus' help. And today's point is super important too. Serve and pray for one another. Today, we're not going around the world. We're going home. We're going to Yakima, Washington. Even though I'm traveling around the world as a missionary right now, Yakima was my first mission field. Let me tell you a true story. Are you ready? Let's go! Back in 2023, I met a girl named Skylar at the local theater. We were in a musical together, and I didn't tell anyone I was a Christian or that I was a pastor. I just let my actions show Jesus and show that I was different. I didn't know that Skylar was going through some really hard things and was actually serving the devil. You know how people have different religions and different beliefs? Well, she chose to serve the devil. But anyway, the story gets better. A year later, I was invited to her Celebrate Recovery party, and there is when God asked me to invite her to church and start a Bible study with her. And I was a little scared because we weren't that close friends and I didn't know how she would take it, but I asked her scared because I knew it was important to be obedient to God. And she said yes. God had actually been working on her heart and leading her back to Jesus. And I was a tool that God used at the right time to bring her back to church, to bring her back to God. And one night after young adults, we spent over an hour up until 12 a.m. at the Mod Pizza parking lot where she rededicated her life to Jesus. And a few weeks ago at our praise and worship service, she actually was baptized. You guys, this is why it's so important to serve and pray for one another, because you may never know what God is working in the hearts behind the scenes of the people in your friend groups, in your sports teams, in your theater groups, in your families. God wants to use you, and you are called to be a missionary. But the difference between just being a believer in Jesus and being a missionary is going and sharing God's love, sharing God's kindness, forgiving one another, and telling people about Jesus. So thank you for joining me this week on our journey around the world. I hope you had fun. Bye!